or the directory itself and the parent. And that's all that selector function does. It says ignore. You see, if it's dot or if it's dot dot, ignore it. All right, then I come in. It turns out that I need the package on line 5 called dirint is the operating system way down in the bowels of the operating system that gives you back a listing of the directory file. Remember the directory files? And what did they have in them? They had the name and the inode number. So it gives you that back in the form of a list. Okay, in the form of a list. All right, so here we go. And the structure that does that is called star star list. So it's a pointer to a pointer, and the object is of type struct dirint. So it's a big record type. And I've got a pointer to a pointer, that's sometimes called a handle. So I've got a handle called list.
And dirint is something...
That's defined up in dirint.h.
Okay, so it's a library, right?
It's some records, some record type. You know, it's got a bunch of different fields in it. I don't care what they are. Well, I do ultimately, but for now I don't. So I create an object of type of type struct dirint, and it's a double pointer or a handle to that. And here we go. Line 25. N gets, and here's the call. Scander, where do I start? Here. So the directory that I want you to scan is here. What's the name of here?
Selector?
Dot.
Okay, dot.
So scan the directory here. Okay. Okay. Then where do I want you to put the answers? In amper list. All right. Which ones do I want you to ignore? Those given in the function called selecto. And by the way, sort them alphabetically. Okay,
is that what the entry D means, to sort alphabetically?
No. That's what alpha sort does. No. Dirint, the line 21 is simply a declaration. It's like I said, int x. It's a declaration. It's a declaration to a handle. But that's not all that relevant. The point is that the thing whose address I send in line 25 has to be declared like that thing on line 21.
Okay.
All right? So it then does that. It goes out way down in the bowels of the operating system, and it grabs the directory that I specified, in this case here, and it gives me all the entries in that directory in this object called list. Now what am I going to do with that list? By the way, it ignores dot and dot dot in that list.
Right.
So it gives me all the real files and all the real directories that are in the current working directory because I gave it dot. Right. So now that I've got all that information, what do I need to do? Print it out.
Print it out.
So here we go. Now notice the argument on line 25 was what? N. So not only does scander fill the list, but it also tells you how many there are. All right? So N gets scander of all this junk. Now what do? Line 27. I equals 0 to N.
That's your thing to keep it going.
Pre-increment I. Interesting. Okay? If it's not 0, so all this is I didn't want it to have 900 files walking off the end. So all I do is every 80 characters I do a new line. That's all that is. That's my own logic. So line 28, if it's some multiple of calls, which you see if it's some multiple of 3 columns, turns out that that's, I said 80 characters, I was wrong. The listing comes out, file name, file name, file name, new line, file name, file name, file name, new line, file name, file name, file name, like that. All right. So then I say, if it is some multiple of columns, then what do?
Say it again.
Print a new line. Then otherwise, what do? I show the name of that file. So all of this, so list of I, and since it's a handle, since it's a pointer to a structure, all right, then I can use the arrow notation. List I, and in the object of type struct dirint, there's obviously a component called dname. Okay, that's the name of the file. Okay, and what does this say?
That's my,
It says left align 20 spaces. Okay, left align 20 spaces. So it prints out the name of the file, goes back up, goes back up, goes back up. Every 3 file names, new line. 3, file name, file name, file name, new line, file name, file name, file name, new line. And then when it's all done, what are the characters? So line 33, this is why people get memory leaks in C. Okay? You're supposed to know that if you use scandir, that way down in the bowels of the operating system allocated space for list. And it's up to you to release that memory. If you don't, then the operating system still thinks it's in use. So that's why you end up with memory leaks. Okay, so free the list, put a final new line out, and go home. So now we've implemented our own version of the ls command. All right, I guess we'll have to call it quits.
That-
Pick up next time.
that is my own private question. Why you turn it off? Go back to that slide.
What's that?
Do that slide. Show me which statement made it sort. Thank you.
That said, sort it alphabetically for me. Sort it alphabetically. This said, ignore my dots and dots. Okay? All right, that's it.
Okay.
Now to take a look at the other